Let's go! Welcome to the official Guns Up Nation podcast, the premier voice for the fearless fans of Raiderland.
Caught. He breaks. Oh, he's going hard. Red Raider. Unbelievable.
The Scarlet and Black are back at the final Bullet Club, and they hail from Lubbock, Texas.
Let's meet today's hosts.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome into another installment of the Guns Up Nation podcast. I'm RC Maxfield alongside Tobias Bass down in H-Town. Tobias, how you doing, man?
Doing well, man. Just got done watching a crazy basketball game between the Nuggets and the Clippers. Obviously, the Nuggets are going to the Western Conference Finals. I really can't believe it.
Well, I mean, they do have the best center in the NBA. I've been telling you that for 3 years now. And so, just to clarify, by the way, the only way you will not talk about the weather down in Houston is if a basketball game just ended?
Yeah, I mean, it's dark right now. I mean, it was a typical normal hot day.
Okay. I just didn't know if that was the qualification. Like, if a basketball game ended, you wouldn't talk about the weather. I just wanted to make sure, so I knew, as a host.
Yeah, I was just really excited about the game. I mean, Jokic went absolutely insane. So did Jamal Murray. So I just want to see what's next for the conference finals. Hopefully we get 7 games or so out of it.
Yeah, for the Nuggets' sake, I bet you they want it to be over in 3. They've already played 7 games twice. Obviously, they can't get it over in 3, but they want to get it over as soon as possible, hopefully with the win. Speaking of a win that kind of went down to the wire unexpectedly, Texas Tech and Houston Baptist met up this past Saturday. And Tobias, there's a lot of things we can say about this football game. I know you only got to watch it in bits and pieces just because ESPN Plus was messing up for you or whatnot. But from what you did get to watch, what was your main takeaway for Texas Tech football?
Well, Bailey Zapper. How do you say his last name?
Zappy.
He's all right. I think he sounded good. 567 yards. HBU, they only can play 3 games. They've already played 2. The moment that game is over, I'm calling HBU and seeing if he wants to play another year of college football. If he does, I would bring him to Tech. That would be the first thing I would do. And we talked about this the last podcast. Tech, firsthand, got to see what he looks like firsthand. I would immediately try to see if he wants to come to Tech. Or any school that's like air raid that passes the ball a lot, they got a chance to see that game. I mean, worst case scenario, if he's bad, he's bad. He just won't play. But if he's good, he might have found you a little hidden gem at Houston Baptist University. Who would have thought?
You kind of – I feel like, obviously I don't think this will happen, but like the perfect place for him to go is Mississippi State because Mike Leach is there. Like he'd be perfect with Mike Leach.
Yeah.
But, I mean, yeah, like you look – at the game for Texas Tech, right? Like you coming into this, they're 40-point favorites. No joke. We're talking 42. I undersold it. They're 42 effing points favorites in this game, right? 42. And you beat this team by 2? Like, what the hell are you doing? So, first of all, let's just go over the numbers a little bit for Texas Tech. So, I'm trying to get to the game recap right now for the Red Raiders because, the crazy part is, Tobias, you talk about Zappy. You want to know the funny thing is about him? He obviously out-threw, Alan Bowman and whatnot. But the funny thing is Alan Bowman is the one that leads the FBS in passing. He leads the FBS in passing with 430 yards. And he got outpaced by Zappy by over 130. But you just look at it, right? There's a guy they literally threw for 572 yards on you. The brothers Stearns, I hope they're brothers because if not, that's a very weird coincidence. The brothers literally went for 339 yards on 17 catches and 3 touchdowns. Are you kidding me? Like, what is going on? Like, I will be the first one to wholeheartedly admit I thought the secondary would be better than people thought. I was wrong.
Yeah.
I was just dead wrong. This secondary, there's a lot of work to do because
a lot.
Tobias, I'm going to be honest with you. You could have played wide receiver for Houston Baptist. All you would have had to do was run a fake slant and go. They would have bit every time. That's how they got their long touchdowns.
To me, this was almost, or not even almost. First of all, Tech was favored to win by 40. So, you know.
Did it go down to 40?
Yeah, it went down to 40. Yeah, I think it finished at 40. But we embarrassed ourselves. Like that's embarrassing. Like that game was very, very, very winnable for HBU. And like I said, they were playing with house money. They were just happy to be out of Houston. You know, they've been cooped up for so long because of COVID. They just happened to be in somewhere else.
Yeah, well, I mean, they got paid $400,000 to go to Lubbock.
Yeah,
they got paid $400K. I mean, the weekend previous, UNT wiped the floor with them and didn't. And then you're like, oh, well, if UNT can do that, then Texas Tech should be able to, you know, just absolutely obliterate them. You know, score, 60. On our last podcast, if you remember, I said it is absolutely embarrassing if Texas Tech does not score at least 50 points. They barely got 35. They barely got 35. Like, it's insane. Absolutely insane. Like, you look at some of the numbers here, right? So, obviously, Alan Bowman, he leads the FBS in passing, which is mind-boggling to me. I will say, you know, if we're just strictly going to look for positives here for a split second before we bash on him even more, I absolutely love, and I will say this wholeheartedly, I love the running back position Texas Tech has. I love Sarajic Thompson. I love Tajay Brooks. I love Townsend. Xavier White didn't get to play because of unknown reasons, and Texas Tech won't disclose those because of COVID. They want to keep that in-house, and they won't release why people are missing games. But those four right there, that's a really, really good stable of running backs for Texas Tech. And I was doing the post-game show. I hope some people watched it here on the Guns Up Nation Facebook page. Had a lot of great people come out and talk to me. The thing that pissed me off the most, Tobias, and I know you didn't get to watch all of it because, again, you had ESPN Plus issues, was I don't know what the hell David Yost is trying to prove about throwing the ball outside of the numbers. But, like, bro, throw it in between the hashes. Throw it inside the numbers because, geez, like, Keyshawn Carter, he's a stud. He's a track star that's built like a Greek god now. He put on 20 pounds. You have him and Dalton Rigdon in the middle of the field that are running 4.3s in the 40-yard department, if not faster, and you're putting them outside. You got to put these guys in the middle where the field is open. And also, Tobias, you remember one of the big things about this scheme that we liked coming in was they were going to use tight ends. They only threw to the tight end twice, and he only caught one because the other one was just terribly inaccurate by Alan Bowman. It was just awful. Like the play calling was just pitiful, dreadful, whatever word you want to use to describe it is awful.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, he kind of came in, or he did come into Tech, you know, and being known as some offensive genius. You know, I'm waiting to see the brilliancy. You know, I'm waiting to see
there with you.
You know, this unique mind of offensive creativity. You know, we just haven't seen it yet. You know, I mean, this is the point. You know, you have a bye week this week. Then you're playing Texas. They're ranked with 9. We talked about this last podcast. You don't have a lot of time to be, you know, making things up on the fly. You're playing the 9th best team in the country at home in a week. So I don't know what they're going to do this week in practice, but playing against HBU, like, I want to see what the line is for UT, but it has to be over. It has to be, like you talked about in our group chat, over 13.5. It has to be, because
that's the minimum
to lose. Minimum.
Yeah. No, I mean, I didn't mean to interrupt, but yeah, like, I mean, that's the minimum in my opinion on there.
Yeah, like I said, you just don't have enough time to just, you know, tinker with things. It's like you need to kind of – this was a game to kind of see what you guys have. You know, it's only HBU. I mean, you struggle with them, so how do I expect you to play, you know, get good against a very good defense? You know, there's 5-star talent all over the field. You know, we're waiting for this talent to pop, but I was talking to my dad about this. UT has had a top 5 recruiting class 3 years in a row. Or no, top 12 recruiting class the last 3 years in a row, and 2 of those 3 years, I believe, was in the top 5. So those 5-star recruits are sophomores and juniors now. This could be a year. Like I said, many people have UT in the playoff. So you are potentially playing a potential playoff team in 2 weeks. So you're going to have to figure something out.
Yeah, no, I mean, this was supposed to be that game where you build confidence for the remainder of your season, where, yeah, you do have a tough matchup to begin the Big 12 play on your schedule, but Houston Baptist was supposed to be that one where it's like it gets the fans in it because you're scoring, 70, 77 points on these guys, and you're barely hanging 35. And your defense, I mean, you mentioned it earlier, I don't think Texas Tech really won this football game. I think Houston Baptist lost it. They made some bad coaching decisions. It was just bad. And, you look at some of the positives, again, and it's difficult. I thought one of the big positives for Texas Tech was I thought the linebackers looked really good. The thing is, the secondary was so dreadful that people that look at the linebackers are just going to be like, oh, well, they didn't play that great. The defense gave up this to HBU. Well, I mean, Kearshawn Merriweather came in and won Big 12 Defensive Player of the Week. He had 12 tackles, 7 solo, and a half tackle for loss. Like, the dude made an impact, right? Rico Jeffers, second in the team in tackles with 8 total. And then I thought Boyer Randall had a great game. The thing that pissed me off more than anything was the utilization of him in terms of Tobias, I don't know about you, but I do not like an outside linebacker going into coverage and guarding a slot receiver. It just doesn't make much sense.
Not at all.
And
there's only a few even.
Yeah, he did that multiple times.
Yeah, I mean, there's only a few NFL linebackers in the league. In the NFL, that I don't even trust doing that, and it's probably going to be in some type of zone. For the most part, exactly. I don't want them matching the slot receiver.
No, I mean, he made good plays. I give him credit. Like, he didn't get burned or anything, but, like, that's a coaching thing. Like,
they put him in the bad spot.
Yeah, exactly. I put it in our Guns Up Nation group chat. He played on 22 plays, Tobias, where he rushed the passer. This is Boyer Randall I'm talking about. Let me pull this up so I can exactly get the numbers for you so I'm not fibbing to the audience out here, because I was absolutely shocked at these numbers by Boyer Randall when he was rushing the passer. It was absolutely insane. Trying to pull it up right now. But, again, this kind of is a testament to it. So I just got it right here. Boyer Randall rushed the passer on 22 plays. He created 2 quarterback hurries, had 5 tackles, and 2 pass deflections on those 22 plays where he rushed the passer. Why the hell is he not rushing the passer every goddamn play? Like,
yeah, I mean, like, it's just coaching that I think, you being a coach, you're supposed to adjust to your, players' strengths and weaknesses. You look at just, you even just look at, like NBA, we're talking about the playoffs earlier. Coaches like Michael Malone, they lean to the strengths of their players. You're not going to exploit their weaknesses. You look at, like, the Rams players, good coaches, they get the best out of the players because they play to their strength. They don't have them doing things that are okay or decent. If you have a good pass rusher, you're going to be rushing the passer. You don't see Khalil Mack dropping in coverage a lot. Why? Because that's not what he does.
Yeah.
If he's a good pass rusher, let him rush the passer. You brought in all these transfers, especially in the secondary, the last 2 years for a reason.
Yeah, no, and I get, like, inevitably he's going to have to drop back in coverage. We're not saying he's never going to drop back in coverage, right? Like, it's defense. It's going to happen. No. But, like, Patterson early on in the offseason said Boyer Randall's going to be our guy at the Raider position, right? And the Raider position, by his own definition, said that he was going to rush the passer 60% of the time and only drop back and play the linebacker position sideline to sideline 40% of the time. He didn't even do that. He was on the field for 83 plays, and he only rushed the passer 22 times. We're looking at a percentage of about 25% here. What are we doing? You got to send guys where, especially when you look on the other side of Eli Howard's getting double teamed every time. Like, he's not going to have success. He's a great football player, but even great football players, the only ones that really, can dominate a double team are like Aaron Donalds of the world, the Khalil Macks, and Eli Howard isn't that. That's not a knock on him. It's just those guys are otherworldly. So you're putting your guys in a bad spot that are supposed to be playmakers, i.e., the Eli Howards of the world, who really didn't do much. You look at it, he had 2 tackles, 1 solo, half a sack for loss, and 1 QB hurry. Like, okay. Like, he didn't really do much, you know? And the thing is, I think that could be attributed to because Boyer, Randall, and the guys that were playing the Raider position, they were dropping back into coverage. And I get that HBU, you know, they have 5 guys out there in terms of, you know, the wide receiver group and everything. But at the same time, again, I do not want my outside linebacker that's like 6'4", 225 and who can get to the quarterback, you know, pretty frequently, dropping back into coverage and guarding a slot receiver. If he's guarding a tight end, okay, I get it. I'd rather have a safety do it, but I get it.
Because it kind of, when doing that, it almost kind of makes it seem like they weren't prepared, like, for that. Like it's like they didn't know that, you know, they were going to be out 4 out, 5 out. You know, it's like they didn't know almost.
Yes.
They're like, oh, we're going to just kind of try things on the 5 end. I mean, Zappy, I mean, he can sling it. You know, he can sling it a little bit, and it's obvious that we can see that.
Yeah, I mean, it's no secret. Like, their offensive coordinator was a Cliff Kingsbury disciple. Like, they run the air raid. You should be prepared for this. You see this virtually every day, or at least your defense has seen, at least a lot of your defense has seen this under Cliff Kingsbury every day in practice. Like, how are you not prepared? And there's people out there on, you know, the forums and everything, and we see it all the time in the comments on Guns Up Nation on Facebook that say, oh, well, they were holding their cards. Like, no, you don't hold your damn cards here. If you're Texas Tech, you blow them out.
Mm-hmm.
You get everybody playing time. You don't do that. And if they did do that, we need to have a discussion about Coach Wells and crew, because that's just stupidity at its finest as a coach.
No, I agree. I mean, like we talked about this last podcast, you know, this was a game for you to kind of like, it was a tune-up game. You only have 1 as opposed to the 3. What I would have liked to see, I would have liked them to blow them out and they just, you know, get reps in, get timing down, things like that. You're playing against a team that you playing against, you know, new faces that you haven't played before. It is HBU. Yeah, I mean, well, they're not that good, but I guess I can't really say that how they played us on Saturday. But, you know, this was your time to work on this. Like I said, you have the number 9 team coming to Lubbock in 2 weeks. You need to be prepared for them, because if not, it could get ugly. You know, we were projected to win by 40. We could lose by 30 in 2 weeks.
I wouldn't be shocked at all if that happened. Like, again, on the post game show, I don't know if you watched that, Tobias. I was trying to keep it positive, but at the same time, like,
it was hard. It was hard to do that.
We'll just also, like, you got to be realistic, you know? Like, people are going to tell when you're trying to sugarcoat something, and I was not trying to sugarcoat anything to Tech fans. Like, the secondary was dreadful. The linebackers, I thought, played pretty good. The pass rush was abysmal at times. The play calling on offense was putrid, in my opinion. They refused to use the middle of the field. The left side of the offensive line had 6 false start penalties. 6. You want to win a football game and you had 6 false starts on one side of your line? What the hell are you doing?
Back in them Kingsbury days, we were one of the most penalized teams in the Big 12.
When you would have more penalty yards than rushing yards.
Yeah, exactly. Then, like I said, like, if this, I mean, their schedule, you know, we talked about it earlier. You know, Texas comes in here, Kansas State, where you go at Kansas State, at Iowa State, where you don't play well. West Virginia quarterback, he only played 1 game, but I think he can sling it. Then you play OU.
And Spencer Rattler, my God, he's going to be in the Heisman race.
Oh, Lord. Yeah,
He's the truth, man. Like, I say this already knowing the past 3 QBs at Oklahoma. And Tobias, you may call me just ludicrous and just call me all kinds of names, but I think, let me preface this first. The most talented quarterback that Lincoln Riley has ever worked with at Oklahoma is by far Kyler Murray, by far, in my opinion, right? I think Spencer Rattler is at the same level of Kyler Murray in terms of just ability, and if not better.
I agree.
The dude can freaking sling it. I
mean, if you took off, you know, Rattler and put Murray in there, he looks like him. He looks just like him. You know, I think that even with Rattler, I think, you know, Kyler, he has his struggles early at A&M. I think Rattler, he played a game last year, I believe. He's got to pretty much learn, and he's coming out there. I mean, he can make every throw. I don't think there's a throw that he, you know, can't make, at least not consistently. He can throw. He can pretty much throw wherever. He's very, very mobile. He looks very, very similar to Kyler Murray.
No, that's the first pick in the draft in 2022, right there.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
He is. I mean, Trevor Lawrence and not Josh Fields, but is it Josh Fields? Yeah, Fields. Justin, my God, what? I'm thinking of Josh Fields, this outfielder. I literally looked at my TV screen over there, and it was the Dodgers. But anyway, no, yeah, Justin Fields, and then, obviously I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Trey Lance. But those three are going to be the top three quarterbacks taken this year. And then I wonder, where Purdy goes, obviously. But in 2022 – the odds-on favorite to be the number one pick has to be Spencer Rattler.
It has to be Rattler.
Yeah,
it has to be.
Let's get back to Texas Tech real quick, though. So we're going to run through the numbers real quick. So the passing numbers, they passed for 430. The leading receiver was Keyshawn Carter, and he did most of that in one drive, which honestly pissed me the hell off, if I'm being honest. Sarajic Thompson from Irving, had to shout out my hometown. You know how that is, Tobias. He's the true bell cow for this, but it's great to see that there's, at least two other guys in the running back group that can play significant snaps if needed. Tajay Brooks is built like a bowling ball. And then Townsend, I love him. He kind of has that Austin Eckler type feel to him in terms of a really good pass catcher.
What I like about the group is they all kind of bring something different to the table. Mm-hmm. You all bring them in, you're all going to get something new. Like you said, Brooks looks like a truck. Townsend kind of bridges that Eckler field, and I think Thompson is pretty much the most well-rounded out of the three. But I like what they all bring to the table.
You know who Thompson kind of reminds me of? I don't know this guy that I'm going to comp him to, his measurables, but just like his running style and everything, it kind of reminds me of Ronald Jones at USC. Like, I don't know if you watched a lot of him. I know it's Pac-12 after dark. A lot of people don't like watching football that late, but I liked Ronald Jones at USC. I don't think he's going to be as good as Ronald Jones, but that's kind of the similar player he is. Ronald Jones was obviously faster. Ronald Jones, I think, was running like a 4.4. Thompson will probably run closer to a 4.55 if I had to guess.
I think Thompson, he's definitely getting better. I don't want to, boost him, but he kind of has like some Kareem Hunt, capabilities. I think he really can catch the ball out of the backfield. He always has good pad leverage. I think he falls forward for the most part. Like I said, I don't know if he'll be as good as Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt's, very, very, very good. But I think Ronald Jones is also a very good comp for him as well.
Yeah, no, that's the thing about Sir Roderick, who, when he came in, I guess 2 years ago now? 2 years ago. Holy crap. He was kind of like, I don't want to say he was the afterthought at the running back position, but you remember there was DeLeon Ward, that blast from the pass right there. And then Tayshaun Henry, who now plays at Houston. And now the last one remaining of that group is Sarajic Thompson. It's just kind of funny how all that stuff works out. And really, he just kind of, the cream rose to the top per se. But let's move on. Texas Tech receiving. This is just – Tobias, real quick question. I want you to, in order, who are the top three wide receivers on the Texas Tech roster in your opinion?
Pastor, Easy.
You think Vasher's number one?
Carter? No. I was just naming the three. I think it's either Kama Vasher would probably be second, and third would probably be Carter, maybe, probably.
I don't know if this is a hot take, but I don't – with the amount of depth on this team and the way that they're using him, I don't know if T.J. Vasher's a top two wide receiver on this team. Because –
he's just
No, go ahead.
He's just a big threat. If you need to throw the ball down the field somewhere, especially it's really like goal line stuff. So you need to throw a fade in the back of the end zone. He's probably going to be your guy. Sure. He's almost like a big tight end. You can just put that wide receiver just cause, I guess, type of thing. He's obviously never going to play tonight. He's too skinny. But it's that type of thing, like goal line stuff. He's just super athletic, long arm. You kind of throw him fades. And I guess if you're this 3rd and 13, you need to throw the ball down the field. You just throw it up there and hope he comes down with it.
Yeah, exactly. And there's nothing wrong with that. Every offense would love to have one of those. But I think Eazy-E is – Eric Uzakama is the best wide receiver on the team. in my opinion.
is.
And then I think Keyshawn Carter's number 2. But the problem is that Yost doesn't use him right. I don't get why this isn't used more often, Tobias. And maybe and I don't. Let's just say they go 5 wide, right? Texas Tech tends to do that sometimes. Okay? So let's say they go 5 wide and they want to keep a tight end out there because supposedly this group of, offensive geniuses love to use the tight end and they only throw it to him twice. Anyway, I digress. Let's just say they have Easy E, Keyshawn Carter on one side, and then on the other side it goes Kuntz, Rigdon, Vasher. Why the hell are you not using the middle of the damn field? Like, why? Yeah. You use Kuntz across the middle as a safety blanket. You can send Rigdon or Carter right down the middle of the hashes right there. You can also just run a little, slant route with Easy E or do the same thing with Vasher. Like, there's so many options, but yet they refuse to do it, and they just throw outside bubble screens at what seems like every other play.
What I like to see them do sometimes, I would like to see, like, you could have Thompson in the backfield and have Thompson in the backfield and have Townsend, like it's like a slot receiver type of thing. Because I know some NFL teams do. They have both their running backs in the game. They'll put one of them, like the Cowboys do. They'll have Zeke in the backfield, and they'll put what's the smaller one from Memphis? They'll put him at wide receiver sometimes. Pollard. I would like to see Townsend because I think that you get him in open space. He's a playmaker. He's super athletic and fast. I would like to see them. I mean, he only caught 1 pass yesterday, but I think that if he shows he can catch the ball consistently, I would like to see them put both of them on the field at the same time and see if you can use Townsend, even if he's a distraction. Just have him just moving around. You can get him open.
Yeah, this team is just far too talented not to be good. It's basically coming down to, and you know how I felt about him when he got hired, Tobias, in terms of Coach Matt Wells. I thought it was a pretty solid hire. Something's got to change. It just has to change. This team is just – there's too much talent on the team, and that even goes for the secondary. There's talented guys in the secondary, but for some reason they just can't make it click. I mean, for Pete's sakes, they have Adrian Fry, who's a previous All-American back there. Like, and you can't make this click. I don't know what the issue is at this point. Like, again, I think you got to tip your cap to Houston Baptist. They came out with a killer game plan. Good for them. They gripped it and ripped it out there. But at the same time, like, you have to literally look at the defense and think, what the hell are you doing? Like, what the hell are you doing, and why can't you make an adjustment?
I mean, like you said, these are 3 showcase games. I think HBU, they're probably just trying to, get their guys out there and see, like I said, see what happens. Both the Stearns brothers and the Zappy, they're probably going to get calls, whenever they're after next week. Someone's going to call, and I would. Yeah. Because, I mean, there's no risk involved. And, like I said, they're really showcasing their guys also. If Zappy can go to Texas Tech and the Stearns brothers can go wherever they're going to go, that looks good for HBU. So I would, and they're just letting them rip it. They're like how the Seahawks are letting Russ go or whatever. They're letting Zappy and the Stearns brothers just do what they let them cook. They're letting Zappy cook right now. He's cooking. All 67, four touchdowns.
Unbelievable. If this is an indication of what the hell this season's going to be like, Tobias, you and I are going to sound like grumpy-ass old men on this shit.
Because keep in mind, I want to go to the OU game, but it's just like, do I even want to go at this point? I know it's one game, but good Lord. Like, because if he threw for 467, I'm not going to lie to you, Rattler could throw for a rack. He could throw for 1,000. Because if Zappy throwing for 567 and Spencer Rattler is light years better than him, I could argue that he might get close. He could if he wanted to. I don't know if
they kept him
Lincoln
in the game
Riley
long
want to
enough.
beat up on Tech. If they kept him in the game, I think he could. I think he'll get close. Because I mean, I don't think Lincoln Riley want to beat up Tech like that. But maybe Lincoln Riley's having a bad day. He just really wants to stick it to Tech for whatever reason.
I mean, shoot, he doesn't even have to have a bad day. It's 2020, bro. He's had a bad year. He's just going to pile it on everybody. Who gives a damn? You saw what he did to Missouri State.
Yeah. Then Rattler's he has an ego, I think, to say the least.
Oh yeah.
I think he would try. I don't think he's as nice as Jalen Hurts and as Kyler Murray. I think that Rattler actually would try to do it if even if Lincoln told him no. I think he would. I think I'm gonna throw for 1,000 yards today.
Like, people can change, but if you want to see the ego Tobias is talking about, go on Netflix and watch QB1.
Yeah, he's
like, that dude's got an ego, bro. And to be fair, Lord, he can back it up.
Oh yeah,
But
he's
man,
he's feisty. He'll talk trash to you. He'll get in your face. He is not scared of anything. He's not
no,
very big, but he plays like it.
yeah, he's going to be a problem in the Big 12 for a couple years
I
to
agree.
come here. Yeah, it pisses me off. Lincoln keeps finding all these guys. But I mean, hey, what great talent wants to go to a coach that's going to produce them, and he produces them, man.
And he's bringing in the number one quarterback or three or top two passing quarterback in the country next year. So
Yep, and he's going to replace
it'll,
Spencer
it'll be
after a
fun.
redshirt year.
Yep, it'll be fun.
Yep,
The next 5 to 6 years
my
in the Big
goodness.
12.
But before we talk about Texas Tech soccer and them opening the season on national television, nonetheless, we got to thank our sponsor of today's podcast, Two Docs. Two Docs, Tobias. I'm not going to lie. Two Docs probably would have been a blessing and a curse for me on Saturday if I watched the game there, because the way Tech was, I would have gotten hammered.
Oh yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. I think a lot of Tech fans are going to be at Two Docs consistently over these next couple of games or so, because you're going to need something to get that edge off. You're going to need cornhole. You're going to need some good food, some alcoholic beverages to just get you through the Saturdays. Because, like I said, 2 weeks from now, I think you're going to need it, and you're going to need it a few more weeks after that.
Well, Two Docs is the place to go because they got great beer. You're going to need some live music to build your spirits up after you see Texas Tech, hopefully win. But we're trying to keep it realistic around here. And then, as Tobias mentioned, they got great food. It's a friendly environment. They'll keep you nice and loose out there so you're not stressed too much over Texas Tech football. Two Docs is located at 502 Texas Avenue in downtown Lubbock, Texas. Be sure to go support a local business in Two Docs Brewery, and you can support Guns Up Nation as well. If you go on to twodocsbrewing.com right now and use the Guns Up code in the promo code section, and you spend $49 or more, you'll get free shipping. Again, that promo code is Guns Up if you buy $49 or more on their website. Again, that website is twodocsbrewing.com, and that promo code is Guns Up, and you get free shipping on all orders of $49 or more. Again, twodocsbrewing.com, and tell them Guns Up Nation sent you. Tobias, we'll move on and talk about Texas Tech soccer, something you and I are just – we love it. We can't get enough of it. I will say this, Tobias. I don't know if you canceled. Did you cancel your ESPN Plus subscription?
No, I haven't.
Don't. Texas Tech soccer's on there like 5 times this year.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely going to be on it, staying tuned in, because this team's going to be awesome. It's going to be fun, a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. And so it was supposed to kick off last weekend, if you remember, Tobias. They were supposed to go up to Manhattan, Kansas, but a COVID outbreak. I think there was a couple of COVID players on Texas Tech that tested positive or had been in close contact, or I don't want to speculate, or something like that. They had been in contact with COVID in one way or another. And so they had to move that game to the end of the season, and it's going to be November 13th in Manhattan, Kansas. Talk about some cold weather. And by the way, I absolutely lied to you, Tobias. Every game is on ESPN Plus this year except for 2 or 3, and the 3 that aren't are on ESPNU, Fox Sports, and Fox Sports Southwest.
Wow.
So there you go. So definitely,
if
you're a Texas Tech soccer fan, you got to watch that on ESPN Plus. And I think for every home game, you can listen to the voice of Texas Tech men's basketball as well, calling the soccer games, and Jeff Haxton. But Texas Tech, they start this weekend against Baylor. Baylor, a solid team. Texas Tech was picked to win the Big 12 this year. Baylor projected to finish middle of the pack. If you look at the preseason, Tobias, you talked about a little bit the talent that's coming back for Texas Tech. Just reiterate that and talk about who to really watch this year when it comes to Texas Tech soccer.
I think you really watch all of them personally. I think it's kind of like the Justice League. You kind of just pick who you like the most, I guess, and just enjoy the ride. But I mean, look at the attack. You got Kirsten Davis, Allie Griffin. You got Jay King. I mean, what's not to love about that? I think they're gonna be fighting over goals. Literally, it's gonna be like you get a goal, and you get a goal. It's just whoever really. I mean, like I said, they're gonna be fighting the score at some point. But I think this team is super talented. It's just unfortunate, we can't get to see them play, a full season and see what they can do in the tournament. Because I think this team is, I mean, of course they're deep. Everyone came back, but they're just so talented. It's just sad you won't be able to get to see them, go to like reach their full potential this year.
Yeah, no, and really the Big 12 is most likely going to be a two-horse race. It's going to be Texas Tech and Oklahoma State to see who wins. And Baylor was projected to finish 7th in the conference. But you look at Texas Tech, I mean, there was 9 votes. They received 6 first-place votes and 72 points overall. Oklahoma State was next closest at 70. And then there was a 15-point drop-off. So that kind of tells you how media members see this conference going as a two-horse race. And if you look at Texas Tech, you start off with Baylor. Baylor was projected to finish 7th. Then you have Kansas, projected to finish 6th. Then you have OU, projected to finish 8th. Those are 3 possible wins right there, right? Then you have West Virginia, who was projected to finish 4th, but you get to play the Mountaineers at home. So you could go start off 4-0. Then you go to TCU, who was projected to finish 3rd. You might lose that one since it's in Fort Worth. We'll give the Horned Frogs that one. So you're 4-1, right? Your next game is against Iowa State, who's projected to finish 9th, dead last in the conference. So let's say that's a win. And then the big one, this is probably for the Big 12 championship on Halloween weekend in Stillwater, Oklahoma on October 30th. That's probably for the Big 12 title right there. That game is probably the Big 12 championship, the de facto Big 12 championship for Texas Tech and as well as Oklahoma State because – I mean, you look at Oklahoma State, they probably have lost one game going in there too, and Texas Tech probably lost one as well. So whoever wins that probably wins if they win outright. And, Texas Tech, they finish out the year with Texas, who's projected to finish right in the middle at 5th overall. And then Kansas State is supposed to finish dead last as well. I guess technically they can't finish dead last if they're tied for last, but they're projected to finish 9th with Iowa State. So, I did the soccer preview for the site, gunsupnation.com. Be sure to go check that out. I had Texas Tech – Tobias going 8-1.
Yeah, I think they could go 8-1. I mean, the only stinker I could see is, is against TCU. Some of the teams in the conference like Baylor, they do play a weird kind of style of play. I know Coach doesn't really like the way they play, but it is kind of hard, especially if you get down. I know last year, some of the girls they were upset because they were going through rough patches where they couldn't score, but I don't think they're going to have that issue this year.
Yeah, no, I don't think they're going to have that issue either. I think really when you look at what Texas Tech has in terms of scoring, obviously you mentioned it earlier. Sorry to interrupt there, Tobias. You mentioned it earlier that they have their 3 leading scorers back, and Kirsten Davis, Allie Griffin, and Jade King. I mean, how many programs legitimately get the 3 different scorers that led their team in scoring back from the 3 past years? I don't know if there's any team in the country that's done that.
Yeah, and I don't think so either. And, I mean, really all that's going to stop this team is really themselves and just injury, pretty much for the most part. I don't think anything – I mean, I don't want to jump the gun, but this team is very, very talented. I think something catastrophic would have to happen for them not to be at least competing for the Big 12 title this year.
Yeah, no, and it helps when you got Maddie Icewater and her veins white back there, saving everything for you. My goodness, I still can't get that screaming call I had out of my head against Pepperdine in the NCAA tournament. That was probably my favorite call.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to one of my friends about the other day. Some accident the other day. They said, "What is your best moment so far?" As like more in the games like in person. Obviously, the Final Four was up there when we, got a chance to go when we beat Michigan State to go. But I told him, I said it was a women's soccer game. I said, man, asking why she blocked a goal against Pepperdine. That's definitely in my top 2 moments, so far as going to games so far in my young career.
Yeah, I think just because, I mean, I was fortunate enough to broadcast the game. So for softball, volleyball, and soccer, I think probably my 2 moments where I actually got to call the games. The first one, I think you know what I'm going to say, Jessica Hartwell. That one was freaking awesome. Her last at bat as a Red Raider at Rocky Johnson, she hits a 3-run home run to give Texas Tech the lead against number 15 Kentucky on senior day. Just storybook type stuff from her. And then that Madison White call was just absolutely ridiculous. A true freshman going against the girl that had the lone goal for the Waves that day. And if she saved it, Texas Tech went on. If she didn't, the game continued. And and the thing is, you know, she didn't even have to just save that one. She had to save 2 in a row because her team, you know, I don't want to say they let her down, but, you know, good for Pepperdine. Their goalie came in and made a crucial stop on one of the PKs, and then Madison White said, all right, you make 1 stop, I'll make 2. And then Texas Tech went on to North Carolina, and they inevitably lost to the Michigan Wolverines down there in the round of 32. But, I mean, yeah, like you said, this team is so just talented from the back line, the midfield. I mean, we didn't even mention Penny Malanga. We didn't even mention Cassie Hyatt, Hannah Anderson. Like, there's just so many people on this team that are just quality soccer players and really good people too. A lot of good people on the team, but you know, they have all this chemistry together. And the great part is, you know, if they really wanted to, they can all come back next year.
Yeah, I know.
And run it back.
Yeah, I would love to see what happens with that situation. They do have a long season ahead of them, but if they come back, hopefully everything will be back to somewhat, you know, normal, and we can see them reach their full potential. I mean, we'll see though. Yeah, no, what's crazy is, let's just say that everybody comes back next year. I mean, Margaret Begley could legitimately get her doctorate by the time she leaves Texas Tech and still be playing soccer. Yeah, she could be like the women's soccer or not women's soccer version, just the soccer version of Tony Morales. You remember him, Tony Morales, the offensive lineman for Texas Tech? He was here for like 8 years. Like she would be here for 7. Yeah, I mean, why not go try to advance, get you a national championship, or advance as far as the tournament as you can, and walk out with a doctorate? Why not? Yeah, and last I checked, she was still dating Grant Little, the baseball player. Oh, well, yeah, why not? Yeah, and he's doing good in the Padres organization. So life is good if you're Margaret Begley right now. I'll tell you what, life is good, you know. But he's Tobias Bass. You can follow him at Tobias_Bass on Twitter. I'm RC Maxfield. You can follow me at RCMB323. Tobias, should I let the people know this week on this show who's going to be on the post-game show next week after Texas? Or do you even know? I don't think I know. Who is it? Should I let them know? You know what? No, we're going to keep a tease in the business. We're going to keep that a tease. Okay. We're going to keep that a tease for the people to keep coming back, because we're going to have a special guest next week and for the remainder of the football season on the Guns Up Nation post-game shows for Texas Tech football. So you're going to want to check that out. I might be announcing that on Twitter. There's a local Lubbock sports radio, and I'll call him a star. He won't like that. Hopefully he won't listen to this and call me out on that, but he is a star. I promise you, you know him if you pay attention to Lubbock sports radio in town. He'll be on the post-game show after the Texas game. But again, he is Tobias Bass, at Tobias_Bass on Twitter. I am RC Maxfield at RCMB323. Be sure to go follow Guns Up Nation on every platform, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We're almost there, Tobias. We're trying to get to 100K on Facebook. That's the goal. Go tell your friends. Go tell your friends. Go tell your grandma. Go tell your aunt that you don't like because she lives in Michigan and she always sends you a sweater for Christmas. But go tell her to like the page. I don't care, right? Just tell her to go like the damn page. But you can also check out great content. We have a bunch of great content on the website, gunsupnation.com. But again, he's Tobias Bass. I'm RC Maxfield. Be nice to others and please wear a mask. We'll catch y'all next time, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Guns Up Nation podcast. The opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the podcast hosts and do not reflect the opinions of Texas Tech University or its affiliates. Visit our website at gunsupnation.com for more Texas Tech news. Thanks again, and Guns Up.